Hello and welcome to the number one championship podcast, the second tier. I'm Ryan Dilks, and this is a reaction pod fresh off the back of Leeds v Sunderland. Of course, I'm joined by the Ethan Ampadu to my Pascal Stroik. It's Justin Peach.
Good day to you, Ryan.
Wow. What what an end that was to a game. Christ alive. We knew it was a big game to start off with. And it truly delivered right at the end, didn't it? We've got a lot to unpack from that game right there. But before we get onto that, Justin, we've got a big prize to give away to one lucky winner tonight. We're giving away a Leeds or Sunderland shirt to one person who comments in tonight's live stream chat. All you have to do is leave a comment and we'll pick a winner to be announced at the end of the show. It really is as simple as that. So get involved in the discussion in the comment section and we'll read out a few comments as we go along in this live stream, fresh off the tray of that cracking game. Justin, should also say T's and C's for the competition are available in the show description. Got all the admin out the way there, but yeah. What a result that was for Leeds United. 2-1 it finished against Sunderland after coming from a goal down a double for Pascal Stroik, scoring the winner in the 95th minute. Justin Peach, the championship. This bloody league never fails to deliver, does it?
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It's incredible. If you could bottle up a feeling of a last-minute winner like that, you would make so much money if you try to sell it. I really feel for Sunderland as well because they worked incredibly hard for a result, and I think I wouldn't have. Sunderland would have deserved the win if they'd have saw the game out. They would have deserved the draw as well. But I always sort of have to say that Leeds, I think, for their desire to get the 3 points, fully deserving of it as well. But when you can come out and praise both teams for any outcome of that game, I think that goes to show just how good of a fixture it really was. It was I wouldn't say end to end, but there's a lot of aggression. There's a lot of big tackles. There's a lot of interesting behaviours from certain players. But it was a top class show on a Monday.
Yeah, and the moment where that header flew into the back of the net, it was one of those where you just sat there watching the game at home and you let out a little yelp as a neutral. You go, oh, and make some strange noises which sound so weird from another room, but just the drama right at the end and seeing the jubilation from the Leeds players, the Leeds fans, and then the usual antics after the game with the Leeds fans singing I Predict a Riot after the final whistle. It's just good scenes, which you just love to see. And we'll unpack that game very shortly, Justin. What was your noise of choice when that goal went in?
I almost go, ooh. It's a very sort of
Like
dramatic.
Gary Neville.
Gary Neville's is a bit like a ooh. His is a bit enjoyment. There's a bit of weirdness in Gary Neville's tone. Mine's a bit of a ooh, like I've got something to talk about. I've got something to take away here. It's always with a, ulterior motive, if you like. So yeah, not quite a yelp, not quite a anything sexual. It's just just an ooh.
Yeah, well, Sunderland were ahead for the first, up until the 77th minute of this game after Wilson Isidore's goal in the first half. A beautiful finish for that goal by the well. He took that really well, and for the most part, I thought Sunderland played really well, Justin. Up until the 75th minute, Leeds had 14 shots, only had the one on target. All of Sunderland's 6 shots were on target, so I think that just goes to show that Sunderland did a fantastic job of, by and large, keeping Leeds at arm's length, didn't they?
It was a really good display from Sunderland, and that's why I'm quite disappointed that they weren't able to see it out, because I think what's really done them in here is giving away a really poor set piece for the equaliser. Don't need to give a free kick away. I think it was Patrick Roberts. Don't need to give a free kick away in that area, and you just put your team under pressure. And Leeds paid their dues, but I thought Sunderland, they were so compact, they were disciplined. We can talk about them being full-blooded in challenges. They were up for the game. It's what you need to do. It's what you need to do, and you need to bring to Ellen Road. It was a really good display from the Black Cats, and that Wilson Isdale goal. I think you really do need to big it up, because his run again. I think his run is as good as a 30-yard screamer. he's so efficient and elegant in how he picks his runs, and the ball from Dan Ballard was brilliant. His hold-up play superb, his strength and balance, his composure all brilliant as well. We've gone from seeing Zlatan Ibrahimovic on transfer lists, recruitment lists for Sunderland to paying £3 million for a player who's going to be worth £15 million at the end of the season. It's incredible.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, hasn't he? But look, up until the final 2 minutes of that game, I was all ready to sit here and just lump praise on Sunderland for how well they did defensively. There were a few strange decisions when it came to them having the ball in their own third, which I thought was a bit questionable. But by and large, they managed the game so well. Defensively, they were excellent. Dan Ballard and Luke O'Nien were just sublime at the back. I thought Dan Neil was probably my man of the match up until the final 15 minutes of that game. He was just excellent. Joe Bellingham was all over the place. It was just a fantastic, really tactically astute performance from Sunderland. I thought they contained Leeds really well, and the game plan was absolutely spot on. And it looked like they were going to get what would have been a massive win because, of course, Leeds have only lost once at Ellen Road this season, and it looked like they were going to pull off something absolutely remarkable. But then it gets to the point where they get that free kick, Leeds this is, and Pascal Struijk finds the back of the net after a sublime free kick by Joe Rothwell, by the way, Justin. You could have not put that on the money more than he did right there, could you?
Yeah, it was a brilliant delivery. And again, when you're needing quality in those moments, you've got your delivery's got to be perfect. And I think we can argue for the winner. The delivery wasn't that great. I think it was from a sort of a recycled set piece, if you like. I think if Anthony Patterson, and Sunderland goals was on it a little bit more, he could have stopped it. But their first set piece from Rothwell was brilliant. And I think as a game, I've said it time and time again. Rothwell's game's transformed since he's been at Leeds. He's become a real all-round midfielder, a really good number 8/6. His quality and his deliveries have constantly been improving. So you've got to really praise him for that. And when you need a player in a big moment with a lot of quality on the ball, your delivery's got to be perfect, and it was absolutely perfect. It was perfect, and strikes in the right place at the right time, and that's all you can ask for from a Leeds point of view, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And to be honest, I thought Leeds were struggling for so much of that game, as we're alluding to. I think Sunderland dealt with them really well. And before that first goal, I can't really recall a Leeds chance. I don't know if I'm completely missing something there, Justin. I can't recall. I can't recall what Leeds' best chance was up until that point. That's how well Sunderland just dealt with them, and so many of their players who have really shone for them in recent weeks really struggled. I thought Joel Pirro was fairly anonymous for most of that game. Dan James, someone I think has really stepped up this season, had a pretty quiet game by his recent standards. Manor Solomon was another one as well. Just no one really managed to take the game by the scruff of the neck, really. But then fair play to Daniel Farker. His subs worked because Pascal Struijk, Joe Rothwell both came on. Rothwell set up both goals and then Struijk scored both goals. So that is the definition of impact subs, really, isn't it? We've got a comment here from Lock Yes, who made the point that Lefay got lost at some point in this game for Sunderland. Regis Lebris needs to move him into the middle somehow. I completely agree. I thought Enzo Lefay had a really poor game, probably his poorest game in a Sunderland shirt so far for me. Would you disagree with that, Justin?
I'll disagree to an extent. He's a player you want on the ball. Sunderland didn't have a lot of the ball in this game. So maybe picking him for this type of fixture where the opposition is going to completely dominate you was maybe a touch naive. That being said, he's been Sunderland's best player for the past 3 or 4 games, so you can't really drop him, can you? So I think it's a case of he would take a lot of learning from this. Yes, he may have been absent at times. Was he poor? No, I just think he was starved of the ball. Like a lot of the technical players in that Sunderland squad were Joe Bellingham didn't have too much of an impact. Patrick Roberts was good at making a run here and there, and he was looking dangerous cutting inside at times. But I think from a technical point of view, you probably needed a few more runners in that team, and your players who are going to dominate the ball aren't necessarily going to get on it. So yeah, I think it's maybe a touch harsh.
I don't think that is harsh at all. I thought Lefay was pretty poor there. And you say they need more runners. Lefay, when you're a winger, he's meant to be one of the runners, which is why I think he needs to move into the middle, really. So I think, really, Chris Rigg, perhaps, maybe the one who you're looking at to maybe sacrifice to get Lefay into that team. And now with Romain Mundle, who was on the bench for this one, with him coming back, then maybe that may see Lefay move more centrally. We'll find out, won't we? Comment here from Dixie. Second half, felt it like it was coming. Sunderland couldn't defend at that intensity all game. Plus Leeds bring on a player who could actually take a set piece. Yeah, Leeds had loads of set pieces from out wide up until that point. And really could not find a Leeds player for love nor money. I thought Sunderland were looking pretty comfortable actually up until the first Leeds goal, and then you always got the sense that there was a bit more drama to come after that point. So I'm not sure I necessarily agree with Dixie there. I wouldn't say it was coming, but maybe after the first Leeds goal it felt like it was coming, Justin.
Yeah, the set piece they gave away, it was Patrick Roberts, wasn't it? It was sloppy. It was sloppy, and I think Leeds or Sunderland gave a few of those set pieces away. They didn't need to. That's just game management, and that can be improved quite easily. It's just a bit of recklessness here and there from certain individuals. And Patrick Roberts isn't a player renowned for good choices in tackles. It's not his game. I mean, can't really blame him. I think the winner, I was alluding to it a moment ago, but Anthony Patterson, I think, could have done a lot better with the delivery. He dived for it and he didn't quite reach it. And I think if he'd have stood his ground a little bit and just to fly the ball better, he maybe could have done. Strike had a free header, didn't he? So, that could have been a different outcome if two moments went in Sunderland's favour. They didn't, but Leeds, they're gunning for the top. They've got a winning. It feels like muscle memory at the moment for Leeds. So there's that winning mentality that's just ingrained in that team after a really good few weeks. Sometimes the luck doesn't go with the opposition, and it goes with the team who are in banging form.
Chris Winch has a comment here. He says, what do you two think of the Sunderland subs? We only made 3 with the likes of Brown, Mepham and Mundle not getting a look in. I think Mundle we can perhaps let off because he has been injured. So maybe he's not 100% fully fit yet. I guess that would be the case. Anything to say on that, Justin?
I think Pervader for me doesn't offer a hell of a lot, but I think at that point
he's been poor. Every time I've seen him in a Sunderland shirt, he's been poor.
Yeah, I agree. And I think at that point you're probably just trying to get fresh legs on. You maybe could have put on another defender to try and see the game out, especially if you know you're going to be pegged back on set pieces. So you've got Hjelder and Mepham who could have come in. Alan Brown, I know he's not necessarily been fit either, but he's a player you could have brought on. Probably heading into that last 15 to try and bring in a wise old head. But again, they haven't really done that a lot this season anyway. So, why start now? But yeah, it's quite easy to throw in a hindsight, point of view. Maybe if the subs had come on earlier in the game, we wouldn't have had tied tackles towards the end of that, and set pieces would have been given away in that final third. So. Yeah, but Sunderland were comfortable. Weren't they? They were quite comfortable until that set piece. So. Why change it? I think that's the other side of the coin you got to throw in there.
Well, I mean, ironically, Lebris did change it because he made 2 subs just before the goal, and then Sunderland instantly conceded. Don't want to say it was all down to Samed and Mayenda, who both came on, but that's just how it goes sometimes, isn't it? But look, it was. I think we could put it down as a. I was going to say heroic performance from Sunderland, but I mean heroics usually means you get something out of the game at the end. But I think it was valiant's a very good way of putting it. Just a very valiant performance from Sunderland, and considering Leeds' recent form, they could definitely take a lot of positives from that they came so close to getting something from Ellen Road, which is of course a really difficult place to go in the first place. But ultimately, this is just a case of Leeds just doing what Leeds have been doing recently, and that is getting the job done. And it's becoming quite apparent, Justin, that even though, as we continue to look at the Championship table, it is still pretty tight up there. Only 2 points separates Leeds and Sheffield United in first and second, but it's becoming, as we were alluding to, last time we spoke about Leeds, it's becoming very, very difficult to not foresee this Leeds United team winning the Championship at this stage.
This was a very sticky fixture for Leeds, and they didn't play particularly great. You look at the sort of the first half; they weren't moving the ball quick enough, and that was the same in the second half. So when you come away with such a dramatic, confidence-boosting win, when you're not anywhere near your best against a high-flying team who were also challenging for automatic promotion in Sunderland, yeah, it's going to really, really boost your confidence. And I think the teams that are below them, like Sheffield United and Burnley, they're going to look at this and go, "Whoa, yeah, this team's good." But like I said, it's muscle memory at this point for Leeds. When you're not in your groove and you find a way to win, this from two set pieces, because Leeds didn't carve Sunderland open at all. They really didn't, and that's a lot of credit to Sunderland. But like I said, good teams find their way. They find their way in, and they did that. And obviously the changes that Farker made, it's these big promotion-defining decisions. That's what he's there for. He's got experience of doing it, and tactically you can probably throw a couple of negatives towards him. They're a bit predictable at times going forwards, but when you make big decisions like these big substitutes coming on, that's what you get paid the money for.
Well, I mean, we had a discussion in Zamora Time, which is our patron-only show here at the Second Tier Podcast. And the point I was making is that Daniel Farker teams rely on individuals. Now, I don't think there's any debate about that at all. And I think this game is a perfect example of that, where Leeds were coming up against it, just coming up against, a locked door on plenty of occasions and just couldn't find their way through. And I think this was a great example of that, because the individuals didn't step up on this occasion. But then it doesn't matter, because Leeds just managed to find their way through with two set pieces. And that's just what Leeds have shown on plenty of occasions this season, that they will not be denied getting the victory ultimately. And now we are in this position where they had two big hurdles, or have two big hurdles. This Sunderland game being one of them, and then the next one being away at Bramall Lane next Monday against Sheffield United, of course. And if they get past both of those hurdles unharmed, then that's it. As far as I'm concerned, Leeds will be winning the league, unless there's something remarkable that happens in the final few games of the season. But I find that very, very unlikely at this stage. So with that being said, I think that just goes to show how big a result this is for Leeds. I don't think a draw would have been a terrible result by any means. They would have still been top of the league on goal difference, so it would have still been fine. But this just finding the win no matter what, I think is just a prime example of how Leeds are just able to get things done, if you see what I mean, Justin.
Yeah, the third time I said it, but it's muscle memory. When you're in that winning mentality and that moment, it's very hard to not see it. And I think, as soon as Leeds found that equaliser, the intensity of Ellen Road just went up a notch, both from the players and the fans. And that's down to that sort of that drive forward, where you're going to get one more opportunity, and he nearly went and missed. Obviously, the first set, I think it was the first corner came in. I think it was a spoon shot, but I can't remember who it was now. It went back out wide, and obviously the cross came in, and that's where Strike put it away. So the moment nearly went begging, but it didn't. And when you are fighting for the for the title, etc., and you are winning games as easy as Leeds have been doing, this is a reminder that you've got opposition who are going to make you work for it. And it's a reminder to the players as well that you've got opposition that are going to make you work for it. And I think on another day, Leeds could have lost that game. They could have. I think they had a little bit of luck go their way. With obviously the free kick and then Patterson missing the cross, but. Yeah, sometimes it just goes your way, and that's the case with Leeds. They're probably going to need to do the same at Bramall Lane next week. Need a tiny bit of rub of the green, and another big test, as you pointed out.
You make your own luck, don't you? And Leeds have done that on plenty of occasions this season. Got to give a mention. I mean, we've given plenty of mentions in this show. But Pascal Struijk, he hasn't started the game since New Year's Day because he's been struggling with injury a fair bit recently, and the form of Ethan Ampadu and Joe Rodon has meant that he's been stuck on the bench for more recent games. But it was a big moment for him getting those two goals there, and I mean, he's loved at Leeds already, so it'll be interesting to see how he, whether he starts in that big game against Sheffield United. One person who won't be at that game will be Daniel Farke, because he won't be on the touchline after picking up a card in this one. I don't know if that means he'll be watching from the stands or what, but he certainly won't be in the dugouts. That much we can say. But speaking of Sheffield United, Justin, what do you think Burnley and Sheffield United will have thought after watching this? Would it have been a good result for them, do you think?
What a good result if Sunderland pick up a win or Leeds win. Obviously, if Leeds lose this, then Sheffield United will be buzzing because they still be ahead of them. But I think from their point of view,
The reason I say is it a good result for them, because if I'm looking at it with my pragmatic hat on, I'm thinking Leeds are probably going to go off and win the league now. So, with that being said, if I was Burnley and Sheffield United, I'll be wanting Sunderland to be hampered as much as possible. Do you see what I mean?
yeah, but with the greatest respect, to Sunderland, I just don't think they can catch Sheffield United at the moment. I think when it comes down to consistency and winning games and not playing well, I think Sheffield United have got the edge on Sunderland. And obviously, they had a very good transfer window. Sheffield United did and recruit very well, and they've got good depth now. So I think as the season goes on, we might see Sunderland drop off a little bit, not a huge amount, just in terms of the top two race. Can't count them out, and I won't do. But I think they'll see this as an opportunity missed rather than gained, obviously, with Sunderland, because I think with Leeds, with how they played throughout the game, and then that final 15 minutes, that will be such a bitter blow, I think, to that title race, because I think the Blades were well in it. I don't think Leeds are in a position where they're going to win the league at a canter. I think Sheffield are going to push it really, really hard, but with the points deduction, they might well be sitting top right now. But as I say, that's just how it goes, and that it just makes that game next week a whole lot bigger.
Got a message here from James Kirk, listening on the way back to Oxford from Ellen Road. All Leeds, aren't we? Aren't we just, James? It's Sakosi here. I fear Sunderland will go on a downtrend in time for the playoffs. Can't see them beating Burnley to make it. Yeah, Sunderland now 8 points behind Sheffield United in second place. So it's not looking good for Sunderland in terms of their automatic promotion hopes at this stage, which is why I say maybe Sheffield United and Burnley will be looking at it thinking, hopefully that might be Sunderland. Not done and dusted by any means, because there's still a way to go, but you'd say that their hopes at this stage are fading. Yeah. I think that would be fair to say. So yeah, a pretty bad evening from a Sunderland perspective, and it looks like it is looking more likely than not that it's going to be the playoffs for them now. But they'll try and build as much momentum as they can before then. But, not a great result for them in their eyes, Justin.
No, it isn't. I think they can take a lot of positives from the performance, but I imagine they would have traded a good performance for 3 points or even a point in this scenario.
Oh, they would have definitely taken a point, wouldn't they? A point would have been, even though the Pascal Struijk first goal came fairly late in the game, they would have still absolutely loved a point at that stage. So for them to be leaving empty-handed after leading for so much of that game, that's a bloody bitter pill to swallow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Leading and controlling, I think. And I don't think we're sort of over-egging it. I thought Sunderland were very comfortable. So I think that just compounds the defeat a whole lot more, because they've worked incredibly hard for something from Ellen Road. And a lot of teams go to Ellen Road and they rely on luck a little bit. Sunderland almost went against them, as I've pointed out already. They were very, I think, unfortunate to be on the other end of some tight moments. But I think reasonably, it's a big learning curve, a huge learning curve for a very young squad who stood up to the challenge of a very, very talented, well put together, well financed team in the Championship. Who have blown away a lot of teams over the past couple of weeks. They won 7-0 the other week, for goodness sake. I know Sunderland are nowhere near the quality that Cardiff are, but it just goes to show how quickly and easily this Leeds team can blow you away. And Sunderland didn't allow that to happen. Their game plan was near perfect in this one. But yeah, Leeds found a way to win, and sometimes that's just how it is. And I think Sunderland can probably take a lot to a lot of learning from how Leeds sort of approach that last 10 minutes, if you like.
And Sunderland will be hoping Leeds can do them a favour in a week's time, of course, when it is Sheffield United v Leeds. If Leeds manage to beat Sheffield United in that one, then Sunderland can hopefully close that gap again and make it interesting heading into the final few weeks of the season. Sunderland have next got Hull at home next Saturday, so they'll be looking to try and get back on track there. Before we go, Justin, we have to mention the big news from earlier today, because Swansea City have sacked Luke Williams. It's after a run of 7 defeats in their last 9 championship games. And considering how poor their run of form has been recently and how sort of toxic it's got at the Swansea.com stadium, not a huge surprise, this one, is it?
Yeah, when you're losing a lot of games in such a small period of time, it only adds a lot of pressure to you and your job. The stats are bleak. They have dropped off a cliff form-wise. It was all rosy, I think, until the West Brom links. They were 9th and 4 points off the top 6 on December 29th, and now they're 17th and sort of looking over the shoulder nervously. But, as much as Swansea's results and performances have been desperately poor since the turn of the year, I think Luke Williams is entitled to feel, significantly let down by the club's transfer activity in January. They failed to land a number of targets late on in the window. Squad's desperately short of depth and quality. Sold Matt Grimes to Coventry, 3 days before the end of the transfer window. It was very late. And obviously Luke Williams has himself been very outspoken about the club's recruitment and how unprepared they've been. So, yeah, I feel he's a bit of a martyr for some pretty poor planning at the club, I feel, yeah.
I think that is absolutely spot on, Justin. I think Luke Williams 2 months ago was looking like he was leading something really, really good at Swansea, and a lot of things have gone wrong since then. And how many of them are down to Luke Williams? I would say a small amount, really. Of course, he didn't help himself with the West Brom links, which he didn't properly shut down, and that led to a bit of a sour taste in the mouths of many Swansea fans. But with that being said, you are absolutely right. The January business was just not great. And I think Luke Williams has been the fall guy when he really doesn't deserve to be honest. And I think Luke Williams as well will get another championship job again soon, because I think he's more than good enough to get another championship job, and I think he'll be a success at another club. And I think Swansea will be thinking, maybe we were a bit harsh to sack him when we did, because a few bad results. Of course, it's looking pretty dire at the moment with how much they've dropped off a cliff. But he's shown in the past that he was a great fit for Swansea City. And as I say, how much of what's happened in the past 2 months is down to him, I'm not sure. So yeah, I think it's very harsh, even though results obviously haven't gone his way recently. So I think it may be a decision that Swansea regret in the long term. But we'll see. We'll see. It depends who they get in next. We'll talk more about that in Thursday's show, when hopefully we have a bit more of an inkling as to who Swansea are looking at to replace him. But before we go, it's time to reveal the winner of our shirt giveaway. We've received plenty of comments, and we can now announce our winner of who's going to be winning a Leeds or Sunderland shirt. And well done to you, Charlie Dowds. You've won yourself a Sunderland shirt. Get in touch with us by emailing secatierpod@gmail.com to claim your prize, and we'll be in touch with the details. Congratulations, Charlie. Say congratulations, Charlie, Justin.
Congratulations, Charlie Justin.
Well, we'll be doing another giveaway next Monday for Sheffield United versus Leeds. Probably the biggest game of the season so far. That is it. That is absolutely huge. So we look forward to seeing you again this time next week, ladies and gents. But this has been the Second Tier Podcast. We'll next be back on Thursday for a midweek roundup of the 2 games we've got in the Championship in midweek, and a general news roundup as well. So we look forward to seeing you then for that. But this has been the Second Tier Podcast. I've been Ryan Dilks.
I've been Justin Peach.
And a big thank you for listening and watching.